It is official, folks. The Carolina Hurricanes have finally brought back Tony DeAngelo after a long time waiting for this deal to finally happen. I will be discussing why and what his role will be playing, as well as are they now out on Erik Karlsson in this episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you are listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of this late Monday night, early Tuesday morning. And it happened yesterday afternoon, folks, or Monday afternoon, depending on when you're listening to it. But July 25th, 2020, or July 24th, 2023, it finally happened. The Carolina Hurricanes officially brought back defenseman Tony DeAngelo. This was one that we figured would be happening for quite a while. It was originally looking like it would be a trade between the Hurricanes and the Flyers, with at the time the Flyers retaining 50% of DeAngelo's salary, and the Hurricanes, obviously the other 50. At the time, they would be paying him 2.5 million AAV. Now that is not the case. He was signed 1 year, 1.6, I think 75 million AAV. So they did get him much cheaper than they initially would have. We had obviously I talked about with Andrew last week about this, and it felt like the Flyers just kind of got tired of waiting around for whether it be the Hurricanes or whoever else to make a trade with. So they obviously bought him out, and then I, obviously, as we were talking about today, the Hurricanes signed him in free agency, and this is a deal that has happened. It's one that I am not a huge fan of. I know Andrew's not as well. We'll get his thoughts on this more later on in the week. But it's just one that didn't make sense for the Hurricanes to be making, because they were fine in terms of the defensemen that they have right now. They didn't need to bring in Tony DeAngelo again. They didn't need to do that. And that's what makes it so odd about this, because right now, you look at your defensemen. You have Jacob Slavin, you have Brent Burns, you have Brady Shea, you have Brett Pesce, you have Dmitry Orlov, you have Jalen Chatfield. Now you throw DeAngelo in the mix, and that's very, as of right now, he's the odd man out. And we've talked about at length of him, whenever the trade was initially looking like it was going to happen, when it got put on hold, when it would be able to happen again, and then just didn't happen. It would have been July 9th that the trade originally could have happened. But he's good offensively, but defensively, he's a liability. And it we saw it many times in his year, or in his season here, of his defensive shortcomings, coming off of a really poor year there in Philly as well, which I think is why the Hurricanes were able to get him as cheap as they did, which that's good, I guess. The fact that they weren't having to pay him so much, and then it is just a 1 year deal. So you look at this, and I just don't know where he is going to fit, and that's going to be really interesting to see because again, like I said, he's the odd man out now. So what role is he going to play? Why did they bring him back? Okay, I get, you want to have like a little bit of depth there at the defenseman position. You saw it last year. You've seen it quite a while. The Hurricanes here just have that extra defenseman on them. Calvin DeHaan, he played that role some. Dylan Coughlin, who's another guy that was brought back too. I totally forgot about him. As we're sitting here talking, so now you have him also. So because he signed a 1 year, 1 way deal, I believe, and yeah, it's just they have a lot of guys there, and you have a whole extra pairing now with Coughlin and DeAngelo. So it's I really feel like there's going to be more moves made by the Hurricanes. Bringing him in again. Like I said, you also still have Coughlin in the mix, also. So you have these two extra defensemen there and you got to figure out again, like I've already said, why did they bring him back? And then what is his role going to be? And I will be discussing why they may have brought him back and what his role will be on the team this coming season, right after this quick break, folks. All right, folks, it is baseball season. You guys know that we love baseball here on Locked On Hurricanes. You see me yet again wearing my Detroit Tigers shirt. Andrew, he reps his Kansas City Royals all the time. And if you are, whether it be a Tigers fan, Royals fan, whatever, you can take your first swing at betting on MLB with FanDuel and get 10 times your first bet amount back in bonus bets up to $200. That's right, just $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's 200 you can spend betting on everything from the money line to the over under to who you think is going to score the first home run. All that on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly, no waiting around. There's no better place to bet on the MLB than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today and visit FanDuel.com/locked on to get up to $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/locked on. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. Now diving back into the Hurricanes bringing back Tony DeAngelo, and you know we know what he can bring to the table offensively, and I think that is going to be the main reason as to why he was brought back. They want that offensive defenseman, and they've seen what he can do in this Hurricane system. They know he can be successful in it offensively. Now, what's going to be interesting is where he ends up slotting in. He's obviously not going to be on the first pairing with Jacob Slavin again. That is Brent Burns' home now. DeAngelo will not be there. So you looking at him potentially on the third pairing, alongside Jalen Chatfield, maybe, or maybe he's not even a guy that's slotting into the lineup normally. I think that with them bringing him back, I do think that this is making it even more likely that we will see Shea and or Pesci gone, being traded somewhere else. I don't know, but I do think that this may really be pushing that of like, all right, they're just going ahead and getting prepared. Like they know it's going to be happening, and they're just bringing someone on in, just to go ahead and fill that hole. Who it is, I don't know. But I do think that is it could be a contingency plan, really, of Share Pesci being gone, or yeah, I think that's the main thing here because you like I said, Jacob Slavin and Brent Burns, those guys aren't getting split up. We've said a lot that we could see, it being Orlov and Pesci there on the second pairing, and then it being Shea and Chatfield on the third. Now, again, then you have DeAngelo and Coughlin as well as the extras. Now, as I'm sitting here talking about this, I remembered that Chatfield is on a two-way deal, so he technically could get sent down to the AHL, but the Hurricanes do not have an affiliate right now, and they probably won't this season. I mean, anything can happen, but probably not going to happen when it comes to that. So I don't see him going down to the AHL, but he'd be the easiest guy to do it to. And then you have DeAngelo slot in there. But I don't know if I'd want to do that. Jalen Chatfield, he really holds that third pairing together. We saw what he can do these past couple seasons, in his first one with the Hurricanes, when he got that initial call up and, really surprised everyone with just how good he was. He earned himself that 2-year extension. And then last year, he was a guy that, like Seth Jarvis the year before, he forced, the Hurricanes' hand of keeping him in the NHL rather than sending him back to Chicago because he was playing that good for them. And he didn't miss a game aside from being hurt. It wasn't like he got scratched or anything like that. When he missed time, it was because he was hurt, not a healthy extra. So I don't see him being the guy to get sent. Orlov, you just spent all that money on him. He's not going anywhere. Same with Jacob Slavin and Brent Burns. They're not going anywhere. So it is very much like, I think that someone's probably going to be moving out. And that is why DeAngelo was brought back. What his role will be, I think ultimately depends on who moves, really. If you move Brady Shea, like I said, I feel like Dmitry Orlov, he'll be slotting there beside Brett Pesci. If you move Brett Pesci, I guess, you put DeAngelo there on that right side on the second pairing, and then you have Orlov and DeAngelo, and then you have Shea and Chatfield there on the third pairing. Maybe that's how things shake out. This is something that we're obviously not gonna know what is gonna happen until it happens. It's July 25th, as I'm recording this at 12:20 in the morning. It's not gonna be later on today that we're gonna know. At least I don't think so. But anything could happen. We've seen that as we've recorded in the past of things happening during or after, but it's not one I see happening anytime soon. So this is really something we're just going to have to wait out and see. But, the Hurricanes had been linked to Erik Karlsson for quite a while. And, him being just coming off of winning the Norris and being such a powerhouse offensively, and the Hurricanes now bringing in offensive defenseman. Does this mean that they may be out on Erik Karlsson now? Was this their backup plan? I will talk about that and give my thoughts on that right after this quick break, folks. All right, folks, we are back. And the question I just posed was, now that the Hurricanes have signed DeAngelo, are they out on Erik Karlsson? Again, coming off a 100-point season, winning the Norris, he's requested a trade out of San Jose to a contender, and it's looking like it's been down to the Hurricanes and the Penguins being the two biggest names there. I know Seattle had been in the mix, and then there was, who was the other team? I forget the other team that Andrew mentioned that Karlsson talked about in the Swedish whatever that he spoke Swedish news outlet that he had spoken to. But now it feels like, because for a while we were feeling that with the reason the Hurricanes hadn't made that trade with Philly to bring in DeAngelo, and then after he was bought out, signing him that way, was it because they thought there was still a chance that they could get Karlsson? And I think it. Yeah, at the time, I was definitely thinking that that was the case. And you never know. It still could be the case. They still could be able to make the move for him. Uh, and we've talked about that at length. The things they'd have to do, move money out, get San Jose to retain some salary, potentially, get a third team involved to pick up some salary as well. So that was one that, it still could happen. We've said before, in talking about a potential trade there, do you figure Shea or Pesci will get moved? Do they move both now that they've signed DeAngelo? And then having Orlov and Carlson, and then DeAngelo and Chatfield there on the third pairing. Do they do that? I think it's fair. I do think that with them signing him, I do think it maybe lessens the chances of them landing Carlson. Maybe it does swing more in Pittsburgh's favor now, because from everything we had heard was the Hurricanes and the Penguins being the front runners to land Erik Karlsson. Maybe this does move Pittsburgh ahead a little bit more. I don't know. Obviously, anything can happen, as I keep saying, but it does feel like, okay, maybe they're preparing for something, bringing folks in, because maybe they know someone's going to be moving on and getting traded. I do think that with them bringing DeAngelo in, that's almost a guarantee now of someone is going to get traded, because you look at it, and especially with cap space being as important as it is, and the Hurricanes being close, pretty darn close to the cap now, and then signing him at that 1.675 million. Again, not a massive salary. It's lower than what they initially were going to be having to pay him with the trade. As I said earlier, they were going to have to be paying 2.5 million then. So you knock nearly a million off of that. So that's good. But you paid him that much. You're not really going to want him being the healthy extra. And I don't see that happening. I think someone is definitely going to be traded. I don't think the Hurricanes are out completely on Erik Karlsson. I do think that trade, again, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot. They're going to have to move, possibly at this point, Shea and Pesci, to make the room, not only salary cap wise, but also just, for the lineup. They're going to have to move some folks around, and we'll see what happens with that. I don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibility, but yeah, it does make you think a little bit about the moves that are going to be coming, because moves are definitely going to be coming. I can almost guarantee that they're going to be doing something sooner rather than later as far as a trade. But we'll see on that. Then you look at other names that the Hurricanes been linked to, whether it be in free agency, like Vladimir Tarasenko. Again, the way the cap is, how close the Hurricanes are to the cap, every little penny matters now. Every contract they're going to be signing, that much closer to the cap ceiling. So, what are they going to do? I feel like there's definitely going to be more moves coming. I feel this is just the first of a larger move. I think that's what this one is. They're getting ready for something else. Again, Shea and or Pesci being moved out and onto somewhere new. I think this is just the first step in that. They're just getting stuff in line, and it is what it is with this move. It doesn't really make a lot of sense because, again, the as the Hurricanes are right now, they didn't need to sign him. They didn't need to sign him, but they did. They have yet another right shot defenseman. They got a bunch of those now. So you bring in another one, and it's just like, what's going to happen now? Like I said, this just makes me feel like it's the first step in something larger. I think there is going to be there's going to be more moves coming soon. Shea, Pesci, whoever. I think that's going to be happening soon, and that's why they're bringing DeAngelo back. Again, yeah, you know what he can do offensively, and he can quarterback a power play unit. Kind of figure, as it stands right now with him being back, he may be that guy of quarterbacking that second power play unit. If they bring in Karlsson, then I think go to him. But we'll just have to wait and see on this stuff. It's, as we say all the time, it's not stuff you can rush. It's ones that just gotta wait and see what happens. Just gotta take it day by day. Maybe it happens today, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. I don't know. You don't know. So we're just going to find out together, folks. So make sure you're following the show along on Twitter at LO_Hurricanes. Myself on Twitter at Jared Ellis _96. He's not here today, but make sure you are following my co-host Andrew on Twitter at aschnitt53 on Twitter. And we will talk to you guys in the next episode. We're going to get Andrew's thoughts on the Hurricanes bringing back Tony DeAngelo and more. And I will talk to you guys in the next episode. And as always, folks, let's go Canes.